Hey, welcome back to the Junk Buggies podcast, everybody. You know, like a lot of energy going into this one. A lot of pent up. You know, like I've been walking around my house all day. I got my earbuds in. I'm listening to a bunch of great music. A lot of fun times. So,
good.
Anyway, this is Junk Monkeys podcast. We post every 2 weeks, bi-weekly. That's all we got to say about that. And
the Junk Monkey Speedrun.
Junk Monkey Speedrun. Firstly, we've seen it. It was incredible. I'm already going to spoil our thoughts on it.
Hopefully you've seen it.
I mean, hopefully. We're not going to spoil it, but John Wick Chapter 4. Noah and I got a chance to go see this. Brad has not seen it yet. So no, Brad, we're not going to spoil anything for you. Don't you worry.
It's okay. Do what you got to do.
But let me tell you, Brad, I need you to honestly leave this podcast now and go to the 5 o'clock showing of this movie.
Spoiler warning, there's guns.
A lot of
People
guns.
die.
Okay.
Lots.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to see that right now.
Yeah.
Not in the mind size.
No.
You know, little off the trail for John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's really not what you expect.
No.
Definitely a weird turn in the series.
Yeah.
It's like when like Jack and Daxter 1 was like a collectathon game, and then the second one was a GTA style game. We're like, what are we doing, Naughty Dog?
What is going on right now?
John Wick Chapter 4. I want to start with my thoughts.
Okay.
And it's unfortunate that I said that because I didn't have my review pulled up yet.
Did not have his thoughts ready.
So they're ready, but they're not.
They're totally ready. Like, I'm telling you.
Just not in the brain.
They're just
on
not.
The phone.
They're on Letterboxd. Here we go. I can't be critical of this movie. It's too long. The story isn't the best of the series, but I don't care. It's an inhaler full of adrenaline that never ceases to be a fantastic theater experience. What a fun time. John Wick Chapter 4 is the fucking roller coaster that you are looking for in terms of like, man, do I just want to get on this ride and feel 3 hours worth of just fucking non-stop action? Yeah, you do. And yeah, you're going to go see this movie. Like, I can't believe how entertained I was throughout 3 hours of action.
Like there wasn't a slow time, you'd say?
I'd say there are, but
Very, very short, slow times.
Okay.
and I think they serve to like break up just nonstop action. Otherwise, your eyes would roll back into your head.
Oh, you couldn't.
Right?
You couldn't just have a full action movie.
To put it into perspective, I would love to see how thick the script was for all the John Wick movies, like all of them.
Yeah.
And then just have that compared to any other like high production movie.
Yeah.
Just to see how thick the pages are.
It's so funny like that you bring that up because like somebody was like, I was listening to a podcast and they were like, I wonder how many lines Keanu had in this movie. I was like, I don't think he had lines. I think he just had words. Like he just had like one or two like, yeah.
But no.
Maybe so. You know, like, oh my God. Like, Keanu does his thing. He does it amazingly.
Keanu does it. He does it well.
He's unmatched, bro. Like, there's nobody. Well, I say that, but newcomer to the scene, Donnie Yen.
Oh, baby.
He is one of the.
Killed it.
He's a major character in this movie, and he's fucking incredible, Brad.
Okay.
And I mean, like, it's Donnie Yen. You expect him to be incredible at, like, action sequences and shit like that, but, like, my God.
He brought it to the table.
Yeah. To the high table.
Like,
Ooh.
And like they're just going off the rails. Like this is they're putting everything into this. They made Donnie Yen blind.
Yeah.
And he is one of the most badass characters.
That's dope.
Oh, dude, he's so cool. It's so weird that like this is the second movie that they've made Donnie Yen blind because in Rogue One he was blind.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
Yeah, and like it's like, wow, we got to nerf this guy. Like, you know?
And even then,
and even then, he's incredible. Noah, what did you think of John Wick now that you're like a few days out of it?
few days out of it, I still loved it. It stayed true to like what John Wick is, and where it's just like a nonstop roller coaster of bullets, blades, and blood everywhere.
Yep.
And that's all I went into this movie expecting, and that's all I got out of it.
Absolutely. And like, you don't need much more.
No.
When you go to a John Wick movie, that's what you go to see.
You don't go to John
So it's
Wick
not
for story
No.
or character development.
No.
John Wick has not changed at all in the past 4 movies.
No.
He is a killer at the beginning, and he ended this
Well, no,
movie
he-
as a killer.
I would say he started as a guy trying to live in peace, and then somebody killed his dog.
For all of
So he
half an
changed.
hour.
Yeah. So he changed.
Yeah, so all the character development is in the first movie. The rest of it is just like the repercussions of those actions.
Absolutely. And oh my God, it's so fucking good. Because like we went with friends of the show, Tiani and Chris, and Tiani had only seen the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Chris had seen none of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting in this movie and they're using all this lingo like markers and
Crests.
deconsecration.
Yep.
Or
Reconsecrated.
Yeah, what's the word?
Uh,
Excommunicado. You know, like we got a whole bunch of lingo in this fucking movie that you're like,
Wow.
what does that mean? But
well,
I'm like,
and like not to mention the bulletproof suits.
yeah.
We I think you asked Chris at the end of the movie, like, how long did it take you to realize that their suits were bulletproof? Because that's not anything that's stated in this movie.
No.
It's just something that carried over from the other movies.
Mm-hmm.
The only setup for that is a guy gets shot with an arrow, but he lifts his arm right at the last second, and the like arrow goes into the suit, but doesn't hurt him.
Right.
And like that's your only context. Like, oh yeah, these suits are like fucking indestructible, kind of.
Right.
Brad, when I tell you like the gore, not the gore, like just how visceral some of these kills are,
Right.
and like. Yeah, this is feeding the monkey brain like violence, good,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
But like, it does it really, really well.
Well, you brought up the one scene with a knife in a hand. That was pretty gross.
Oh,
Ooh.
that wasn't even part of an action scene. That was one of the slow scenes.
That was one of the slow scenes.
Okay.
It's wild.
Sounded
And like,
vile.
I won't spoil it, but like, yeah, it's very much like they hit a gross factor. Like they were like, okay, in
They
the script
did.
we need a gross point, and there was a gross point.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just telling you, man, like the amount of characters that they introduce in this movie, and each of them being badass as hell,
Oh, and each of them being unique. Like,
so unique.
there was no characters introduced that didn't feel like they had a purpose being there.
Yeah. And everybody had their shtick. Like my favorite character, one of my favorite characters in this movie is a guy called Mr. Nobody.
Right. Okay.
He's also referred to as the Tracker. But he has this like, he won't kill John Wick until a certain point. And like then he'll start to try and kill him.
Right.
But like for the most part, he's trying to keep John Wick as a kill for himself.
He's trying to keep him alive so his bounty grows.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Oh my god! And like that's such a cool concept, man. It's so cool that like this world of assassination. There are a lot of faceless bad guys in this movie that are just there for bullet fodder.
Oh, for sure.
But like for the most part, the main characters that they introduce are so like everybody's got motivations. Everybody's got something. You know. We missed a post-credit scene, apparently.
Ah, damn.
I know. I'm kicking myself for that. But anyway, if you're going to go see this movie, it's got a post-credit. Stick around for it. I just, like, there's not much else to say without getting into, like, every moment of this movie. But when I tell you, Brett, and I told you about it already, but when I tell you that...
I should go watch this movie?
No, there is a scene in the third act of this movie that is just some of the most stunning movie action making I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's incredible. The top-down shot.
Yes.
Oh
was
my
wondering if
God.
We're going to talk about that.
It's
You brought it up.
incredible.
Just the camera angles.
Yeah. Like, honestly, John Wick movies are beautiful movies.
Oh, yes.
Like,
so artistic. Their lighting is gorgeous.
their lighting is amazing. Their music, bro, when that certain song hits in that certain language and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is dirty, bro.
The places that they use, their lighting, the music,
Yeah.
just the impact of sounds and everything in
Yeah.
it. They do everything top notch.
It's incredible. And like, I can't hype this movie up enough. It's so far, I got my 2023 ranked list. It overtook Creed 3, which wasn't too hard to do, but like Creed 3 was a standout for me. So like,
Creed 3 is a good movie.
it's a great movie. Anyway, that's John Wick 4.
Go watch it.
Go watch it, man. It's really, really good. And like, yeah, save it if you want to save it for streaming. Go ahead. But if you have a chance to get to the theater, like we were in a packed theater. I'll give you an example. I went to go see Creed 3, and it was like a matinee showing ish. So it was like 2:00.
Right.
And it was a pretty sparse theater. Like there was enough people, but
Right.
like there wasn't packed. And some people came in and they were talking, and I was like, "Hey guys, like stop talking, please." You know, like the movie was playing.
Yeah.
There were people talking in this movie, but I didn't care because for some reason the movie and the excitement in the theater, like I was talking to Noah at some points, and like Noah was leaning over and being like, "Oh man," like we weren't being loud, but we were just like we were talking, like being like, "Oh,
We were
man."
sharing the moment.
Yeah, and I think there was kind of like this communal sharing in the theater.
Right.
So
And well, there's not much dialogue, it sounds like.
no,
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 So
there
it's not like,
isn't.
it's not like you're missing big story points. or
no,
anything.
yeah, no, it's really good. I really dug this movie. So that's John Wick Chapter 4. Let's get to Brad. I want to get you off the bench, brother.
Okay.
Um,
I'm ready, coach.
all right, coach.
Center field.
You submitted to me that you've been watching Adventure Time.
Oh, yeah.
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 What's
Wanna
up?
just like start talking about it right now?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Adventure Time is like an old TV show from like ages ago. Not like ages ago, but it's an older
God, you're making
cartoon.
me feel old.
It's an
That
older
was a
cartoon.
Teletoon show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember when it came out. I really have no idea.
On
but
555, 554.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, it did.
Yep.
If you're a Bell MTS.
Let me tell you. LMTS.
But yeah, it's. So I watched. You know that TV show. Oh my goodness! You know the one they turned into a podcast on Netflix that I love so much. But I
Oh,
always
Midnight Gospel.
Yeah, I always
Yeah.
forget the name of it for some reason.
It was a podcast that turned into a show.
Yes.
Right.
Same same animator, and I was like always craving like that kind of thing. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I like Googled what should I watch if I like this, and then it popped up, and I was like, okay, whatever. And the TV shows are only like the episodes are only like 10, 15 minutes long.
No way.
So it's really nice to just like throw on
It's
one.
bite-sized.
Yeah, like throw on one or two, have a good time, and then like
Get out.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you can really watch whatever episode at any point in time, but there is like an overarching story. Like it's one of those TV shows that like at the surface is like a jokey fun thing, and then like the more you get into it, it's like wow, this actually like tackles some pretty deep things.
That reminds me of Gravity Falls, dog.
Yeah.
Like it seems like a sitcom type thing where every week it's a new thing,
Yeah.
like Monster of the Week. But there's this overarching narrative that's happening. Man.
The background story.
Yeah, and Adventure Time has the most obscene ideas ever, and it's hilarious. There was this one where like the whole episode was revolving around this cow that was just standing on a hill that they could see outside their window, and they just thought it was creepy, so they just couldn't sleep. but every time they moved it, it would come back. And it was just literally this whole thing.
Okay.
And there was one I just watched was this monster was going around eating everything, and it ate a tribe of partying teddy bears that were just partying in its stomach, and they were trying to save them and like be like, you gotta go because you're like gonna die.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I think there was like an era for Teletoon, Cartoon Network type stuff
For sure.
where it was like, what was that? Gumball?
Oh right, yeah.
Adventures of Gumball or something like that.
Oh yeah, World of Gumball.
Yeah, that sounds
That's
right.
the blue cat.
Yeah, that was the one
Yeah.
with some pretty adult jokes in there. I see
Yeah.
sometimes that are pretty funny.
And then there was Steven Universe. Like there was a lot of Teletoon ones that like I'd grown out of the Teletoon cartoons, but like man, like people a little younger than me, Brad.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely love them.
yeah, and like Adventure Time is one of them. One of the, like anytime anybody talks about Adventure Time, it's like in goated status.
Yeah, people love it. I
Yeah.
haven't got to the point of loving it, but
Okay.
it's so bite-sized that it's so easy to just enjoy.
And I
Like,
wonder
whatever.
if that goes with our theory that people are losing their attention span. You know what I mean? Like
Maybe.
they created a show that adheres to the short attention span that people
true.
got.
I usually
Oh.
only watch like one or two episodes, and then that's like right before bed, and then I just out
Knock
like a
out.
light.
No, you been watching any TV lately, bro?
Been watching Mandalorian.
Ooh, Mandalorian season 3.
Recently caught up on that. I was 2 shows behind, and I got back on track a couple days ago. Staying true to what Mandalorian is. You
Right.
know, you got Mando and Baby Yoda, and they're just going on adventures.
Where does the Lorian come from in that show?
The what?
You said Mando and Baby Yoda. Where's the Lorian?
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
You don't understand what I'm saying?
Are you talking about the
Like
DeLorean?
the title, yeah. So the guy's name's Mandalorian.
Yes.
Okay.
No, it's not. That's not his name. He is a Mandalorian.
Okay. I've never watched Mandalorian.
Okay, great. No, for those who don't know, what's the Mandalorian?
The Mandalorian.
I just never watched it. Never have.
Where's Lorian?
I couldn't figure out what you were talking about.
I thought he was making a joke.
That's what I thought. I was
Yeah.
like, are you making a play on like DeLorean?
I don't
Or
know.
It was like partially a joke,
I
but
don't
mostly just
know.
needed explanation.
No, I was.
What's the Mandalorian, Noah?
Mandalorian is a Star Wars universe TV show that basically takes place finally out of the world of the fucking Skywalkers.
Great.
So.
But does it though?
Yes,
End
it hasn't since season 1.
of season 2, bro.
Wasn't that end of season 1?
No, that was end of season 2,
Oh,
bro.
yeah, it was in season 2.
Anyway.
Anyways, disregard because
Yep.
it doesn't matter because that all got sorted out in Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, you know that show everyone watched. That love.
But no, I don't know. Mandalorian just follows the story of Din Djarin, I believe is his name. He was a guy who was basically captured by a cult as a kid, raised on their beliefs and everything, and is now basically
Space bounty hunter.
Oh,
space
dope.
bounty hunter cult thing. It's weird.
So is there lightsabers?
Yes, in season 2, and there's a dark saber that is kind of making its way through all 3 seasons.
There's no it's not focused on the Jedi specifically.
No.
Okay.
No.
That's kinda
This focuses on a completely different culture, which is the Mandalorians, which is like a militarized group of people
nice. Okay.
that
Cool.
got taken. They had to get moved out of their planet because it got bombed to shit.
Happens.
Forcibly moved.
Forcibly moved.
Yeah.
Okay.
But now in this season, it sounds like we're kind of exploring the old world that got bombed to shit because they were
cool.
all like, "Oh, it's cursed. You can't live there anymore. The surface was glassed and everything." But in the first 3 episodes, we've already discovered like, "Oh, there's running water and everything
like Mars.
underneath the ground." Yeah, exactly. So it's really interesting, and we're getting to see a lot more different types of culture inside the what's it called? Children of the Watch, I think, is like their cult name.
Okay.
And yeah, it's really interesting.
It's so weird, Noah, because I was digging Mando season 2 so much, and like Mando season 1 got me into Star Wars stuff, like straight up. Like I had nothing to do, and Disney Plus came out, and it was the only content that came out on Disney Plus when it first launched, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'll watch this." So I got really hooked. Something about season 3 just didn't. I'm not turning on my TV. I haven't watched a single episode of season 3. I just feel no calling towards it.
It's been like that for a lot of shows for me, especially in the Star Wars scope on Disney Plus. Like Obi-Wan, it took me forever to finish that.
Right.
Andor, it took us forever to finish that.
Oh, but thank God we did.
Thank God we did. It was so good.
So good.
Like
absurd.
And then season 3, like it comes out on the episodes come out on every Wednesday, I think.
Yeah.
And like Wednesdays go by and it's just not something that graces my mind.
Yeah. I have that same thing with My Hero, like My Hero Academia. Like I do when like season whatever, I think it was season 4, when that was coming out, I was like, man, Saturday mornings. It's every Saturday morning that this show comes out. I wake up and I'm watching it.
Right.
This season, I don't even know what day they come out, like new episodes.
Nope.
Like I haven't been keeping track at all, and I don't know if that's just me gravitating towards or like away from TV right now. But I don't know.
Yeah. No, but at the same point, like it's still something I still enjoy. Like when I do remember, I'm just like, oh hell yeah, I get to, like I have a day off.
A nice little surprise.
Yeah, I get to like spend my morning watching this show that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And it's actually the same thing with My Hero Academia. I'm in the same boat as you. I
Yeah.
have no idea when it comes out, but like it'll go like weeks by where I will just completely forget about it, and then I'll have a day off, and I'm just like, oh hell yeah, I get to binge 3 episodes.
That's
now.
what I'm saying. I got them stacked up. Yeah. Alex hates us at work because
I know.
she's like, oh man, wait till you get to this point, and
It'll be like
we
2
could have
weeks.
gotten to that point already.
We just haven't.
We just haven't.
no.
Yeah.
There's other things going on.
Yeah. Do you think there's any way to like entice me to watch this show, Mando season 3? Is there a hook?
I feel like this season definitely feels heavily like the hook is if you watch Star Wars Rebels, which is something I didn't do because I didn't enjoy it.
Neither did
but
I.
I know enough about it to like realize like, oh, that character's from this.
Yeah.
That scene is a really important part in Rebels that happens at the later end of it and everything. So I think that's like they're kind of jumping to all the different.
It's very lore dependent.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
Yeah.
And that's just Star Wars in general.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it seems.
Well, it's like what people eat up. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the Star Wars community are there for the lore.
Yeah.
Well, and like people that absolutely love Rebels are
They're
gonna
eating right
are
now.
gonna freak out when they see
Munching.
this stuff.
Chowing.
Just chowing.
So yeah, they're definitely like servicing different pools
Yeah.
of Star Wars that people.
And I wonder if that's their strategy right now, like with Andor being like this really high production value drama that like political intrigue and like also servicing action, but like is more so like for a different audience. I feel like Andor was absolutely for a different audience than for
Andor is for
Mandalorian.
the audience of people that wanted more backstory from Rogue One that Rogue One provided for New Hope.
Yeah, but like a different take on things and a different like let's focus on something else in the universe. While Mando does that, it's still giving you like the
It's giving you that different perspective of what's going on in the universe.
yeah, but it's giving you the action. It's giving you Pedro Pascal. Like it's almost like Andor is like the indie movie that people adore, but like not a lot of people watch.
Right.
Mando is the blockbuster
Mhm.
that everybody's watching.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll give the first episode of season 3 a shot.
Maybe I'll give Mandalorian a shot in general.
I'd give it a shot.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Especially like from the beginning. I think it's season 1 and season 2 are very, very good.
Okay, I just completely. You guys always talked about it, and it was just one of those things that like I just never asked about.
Yeah.
And I just like agreed with.
I feel like season
I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
season 1, you basically have to start there.
Did we on this podcast? Did we talk about season 2 of Mando?
I think so.
I think we did.
Were we around? Like, was the podcast started by the time season 2 was maybe wrapping up?
Yes.
I think it was in one of the earlier episodes we talked about.
Yeah.
Huh, I'll have to go back and look it up.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and look at some thumbnails.
Totally.
I'm sure we have a Mandalorian thumbnail.
I'd be
I'm
surprised if we
positive.
didn't.
You know what it might have been? I think Dan was watching Mandalorian after the fact, and we were talking about that on the TV episode.
Okay.
I think I can't remember. Anyway, doesn't matter. Last thing on TV, I just wanted to quickly shout out. I haven't been watching a ton of TV,
Right.
but it's just something Beth and I like to do when we're like eating supper or something like that. Anthony Bourdain's No Reservations is one of his many travel series and food series, but it's the only one that's available on like any of the streaming services right now. It's only season 6 and season 7, which is really annoying because I'm very
hate
much
when
a
that happens.
right. And I'm very much like a completionist of like I gotta start at episode 1 and get to episode 204.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I don't start animes.
What if there's an Easter egg in season 6 that's only relevant from season 3?
But like I loved it. I love Anthony Bourdain. He's a flawed person. He was a flawed person, but like I eat that shit up. I think he's just one of the coolest dudes to, and like the fact that he like gave his like literally gave his life to working in television and traveling. Like this guy went home for like 2 months out of the year. The rest of the time he was traveling across the world. Like
Wow.
that's a lot.
That's
And like,
commitment.
to be honest, that sucks. But in name of entertainment, it's really good entertainment.
Oh,
like, we're going to like so many different places, and like each episode is based on a different city in the world. And like some of these are fucking so interesting, and I don't have any examples for you right now. But like last night we were just watching one about Kansas City of all places, and it's like, oh, okay, Kansas City in fucking the States, you know. But they're talking about barbecue. They're talking about a bunch of like good fucking food, and I'm like, man,
I fucking love barbecue.
yeah, man, I want good
Fuck up
barbecue.
barbecue. Yeah, I do too.
I was saying to Beth last night, I want good pulled pork. I don't think I've had good pulled pork.
You've never like. I feel like crock pot pulled pork, like the
Oh,
Mama made,
crock pot
it's really
pulled
good, but I
pork.
feel like there's gonna be a difference between.
But I'm
that
talking
and
like a
barbecue.
smoker. Like I'm
Yeah.
talking, you know, like
a smoked
Traeger
like-
brisket.
grill.
like somebody's got like a closet that they can open up and it's a giant smoker. You know what I mean?
Like that 80-year-old woman with like a cut up oil barrel type.
Exactly.
Have you not
smoker.
been to Ribfest or anything?
No, I don't love ribs.
Okay, but they have other things besides ribs.
I didn't know that. I thought it was just Ribfest.
Well,
No.
it does say Rib Fest.
It does.
does- it
The
does.
title does give away.
The title is Ribfest, but they have other things.
It's like Mandalorian. Like there's the Mando. but
Right.
There's
there's more.
But then
Mandalorian,
there's
but then there's
Yoda.
Star
and then there's-
Troopers.
yeah. Star Troopers.
Star Troopers.
Stormtroopers.
No, Stormtroopers.
Yeah.
I was like, Star Troopers, isn't that like the other show, movie, whatever? Anyway,
There's a name for everything, man.
I don't know. I just wanted to bring that up. I'm really, really digging Anthony Bourdain's No Reservations. I wish that his what's it called? Parts Unknown. That was a series that was on Netflix that I was really digging. And then right as I finished season 1, they were like, "Oh, it's off Netflix now." I'm
How
like,
dare they?
Bitch.
yeah. So
Netflix, keep your good shows.
that's what I'm saying, man. Let's get over to games, guys.
Video games.
Brad, out of these 3, Chia, Project Zomboid, or Outer
Chia.
Wilds, Echo of the Eye, which are you most wanting to talk about?
Oh, most wanting to talk about? That's a tough one. Probably not Chia.
Okay.
It would be either Eye of the
Chia.
Echo or Project Zomboid. I'm gonna give a rundown of like a 15-second, like this is what it is.
Okay.
And then you guys tell me.
Elevator, what's
Pitch.
Pitch.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously, Outer Wilds, open world adventure puzzle game with a 22-minute loop, and you figure shit out, and that's my take on it.
Mhm.
Project Zomboid, ultra realistic zombie survival game, top down.
As
Very
somebody
in-depth.
who fucking obsesses over Out of the Wilds, I want to
Yeah.
hear about Project Zomboid because I don't know
Okay.
anything about this game.
Okay. So for anybody, most people don't know because it's an indie developer, like a small developer team, and it's in early access. So, but it's a survival game that's very, very in depth, like to the point of like when you break a window, you have to clear the glass before going through.
Oh wow!
Like off the sides before you walk in, otherwise you're gonna have cut up hands and like a chance for infection and all this other stuff. And like there's like you can get bored in the game, and it's basically like.
How could you possibly be bored in a zombie apocalypse?
See, I've always wondered that same thing, but then I realized that I've been maybe in the house for 5 minutes in my time, but it's been like 12 hours for my little character guy.
Yeah.
So maybe he's getting a little bored.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like what I think an actual zombie survival would look like.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Like what actually would happen, and like the zombies by themselves aren't very scary. Like you can walk faster than the zombies can chase you.
Always good. Always good.
Which is nice because you can just leave.
They know Last of Us.
I know Last of Us clickers. Fucking.
No,
terrifying.
but when you see like 70 chasing you or something like that, it's like
a little spooky.
Yeah, and even though the zombies seem generally not scary, I still die a lot. It's a really, really hard game.
So what happened? How do you die in this game? Like what's making you die? Like if the zombies aren't that much of a threat.
Mostly the zombies.
Oh, okay.
Like I specifically this one time I was searching like an apartment block thing. We're just going through each apartment like, oh, let's look and get some canned foods or whatever shit I need for later. And then walk into this one, kind of like do it like when you get in that like flow state, I'm just like mindlessly doing it. Walk in, 8 zombies just around the door and I just get munched.
Yeah.
So it's like I could have like checked a little harder and like opened the door and like waited outside, but I just waltzed right into my death.
Sometimes I love a game that kind of forces you to like think about everything you're doing.
Oh, this is definitely a game that does that.
Yeah.
This is definitely a game.
I love it when it makes you have to like rethink your strategy every time.
Yeah.
Because you were just going door to door, opening everything, expecting nothing to be in there.
Yeah.
But then they just put 8 zombies in one room.
It's like
and
maybe it didn't matter for the rest of them, but like either one, I should have readied my weapon and opened the door.
All
and
of a sudden, you gotta be on edge now.
You put a game with risk and reward and a good risk and reward system. Goddamn, like I'm in.
It really is like that, especially because like obviously there's smaller towns, bigger towns. The map's huge, so it's like you can go to bigger towns, more zombies. Go to a military
but better
place.
stuff.
Yeah, go to a military place. Zombies have helmets and shit, and it's just might be a little tougher.
Couple questions for you. When you die, are you re-rolling a new character? Like, is it permadeath or is it just respawn?
Okay, so the way it works is, your character gets skills through doing things like survival skills, like carpentry or like farming and stuff. Love
that shit.
And like, there's a lot of skills, and like fitness and everything. Like fitness is a whole thing. Like you can exercise in the game.
Oh, cool.
So it's like, if your character dies, yes, you just re-roll a new character with whatever like traits you want or however that one's gonna be, and it's gonna put them in the world. Like basically of the time your character died, just in like a different location.
Okay.
And but you don't have any of your traits left, so it's like it still hurts a lot.
Or your inventory, right?
Yeah.
You're starting from the beginning.
Yeah, but it gets harder because obviously as like civilization is collapsing, like water goes out, electricity goes out, and if your character dies after that point, then you're starting anew without any of that help.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So you don't have like a sink you can drink from. Like you have to go find water bottles.
My other question for you, is this a PvE or a PvPvE? Like, is there other players on this map, or is this a single player game? Or
it can be either.
Okay.
So you can do single player, or you can do a PvP like base server, or you can do a PvE server.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like it's like I guess DayZ would be like that in some ways.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's like a server thing if you want to go, or you can just host one and your friends can join you.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is really nice because then you don't have to deal with anyone else.
How many players are you playing with friends? Or are you doing the solo?
Yeah, currently with just one friend. I'm Michael, R.I.P.
Rest in peace, Mike.
Rest in peace.
Still on that highway.
Yeah, still on the highway, and he spoke to me from heaven and said he wanted to play.
Oh, good.
So
yeah.
So he might be getting the game to jump on at some point.
He's just gonna haunt a computer and
yeah, he does it pretty often. We play COD like that.
Yeah, but like in heaven, like because I mean,
hopefully there's no lag or anything.
High ping though.
Yeah, super high ping. So like he might say he's gonna play a game, but then like you'll see him play Monster Hunter for a few years, and then he'll finally
come
around.
Delay between heaven and Earth?
Exactly. Yeah.
Just over 1,000 ms.
Ooh, that's not great. That's not great.
You got a Wi-Fi extender though.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
We got a little tower out there.
Shout out to
How
my boy
long,
Jesus.
how long is the Ethernet cord?
Really long.
It's just a dangling cord.
Into the heavens. Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
No, but playing with friends, I think, is the way to do it. I played it by myself, and so hard to stick with it while you're
Games
dying.
in general, playing like if you had the option of multiplayer in a game, play it multiplayer.
Yeah, it's just so much more fun.
Games in general are just more fun playing with friends.
Yeah,
That's fascinating. Yeah.
and we had like me and my buddy had like a weird dynamic where it's like he got bitten during the zombie thing,
Ooh.
and he like hid it from me kind of. I was like, no, I'm fine.
The classic zombie
Yeah,
problem.
literally. I
All
was
right,
just like-
can't trust him in the real world.
You know?
I was like, this guy, and
He's
He ended up-
hiding
So how'd you
something.
find out?
how did I? He just died,
Oh yeah, that
and
happens.
then turned into a zombie.
Bit me.
he just had told me, and then I was like, oh man, and he's like, I think I'm gonna turn soon. I was like, dude, no, we're gonna,
No.
like, lock you up. He's like, don't worry, I just drank 2 gallons of bleach. Oh.
No.
And then he just turned into a zombie and I beat the shit out of him and stole his stuff.
He's
Thanks
doing it
for
through
the free
it's like,
loot.
It's like that fucking picture of Mahershala Ali where he's like holding the gun, but he's crying in the rain. You know, it's like I don't want to do this, man.
Yeah, it's super duper fun.
That's good.
That
Sounds awesome, man. Like, I mean, there's so many like too many games to play where I'm like,
Yeah.
you talking about that? Super cool. I'm never gonna play this
Yeah,
game,
for sure. And
but
it's-
I'm glad you're having fun with it.
yeah, I would put it in the spot where it's like most games I've played are like the same way of Outer Wilds, where it's like it's not a game that just shoves all this like dopamine and cool things in your face. It's like
It's a
Figure it out.
slow burn.
Yeah.
figure it out, and you get like rewarded more in the end than I think some games that maybe just give you that right off the bat.
Totally. Yeah. And like I like the idea of a game teaching you to like not my fucking fantastic example, but like my most used example of like is like playing Dark Souls for the first time.
Yeah.
And like there's I know the exact point in that game where I was like, "Oh, I need to take this slow. Like
Yeah.
I can't run through this." And like that shit just kept killing me over and over again. I'm like, "This is fucking stupid." What? And then I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
Oh,
don't
wait.
wait. If I
maybe
hold
don't
up
be
my
so
shield
aggressive.
and yeah.
Yeah.
So I love it when a game does that.
Yeah.
Because we're so like attuned to like next kill or
Run
like
and
next
gun, run and
objective. Like
gun.
we gotta go, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
let's zoom.
Like
But
every game ever.
Rush.
Yeah. speaking of games that literally is exactly the opposite of what you're talking about, Dead Cells.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Let me tell you,
Run
man.
and gun.
Kinda
and
like Dead Cells is a game that I gave up on years ago. I played this game for like maybe an hour, and then I was like, man, I feel like this is too easy, so I'm not having fun. Like I didn't feel like I was
Right.
earning where I was. I felt like I just got a good weapon and like
And then walked.
yeah, and then just walked. So I wasn't appreciating it, and so I had a lull in game releases this month. So I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna jump back into Dead Cells.
Why
like,
not?
Like everybody's talking about it. They just released this new Castlevania DLC. Maybe I'll play the base game and hopefully I'll get into the Castlevania DLC. Let me tell you guys, Dead Cells fucking is like dangerously addictive. Like
Okay.
it's
Okay,
like
okay.
almost a problem and has been for most of the month. Where Dead Cells is a kind of like 2D roguelite where it's fast combat and it's quick deaths. Like you will die with 2 to 3 hits.
Okay.
You don't have a lot of like leeway in that way. In which this game is fucking hard. Like this is a difficult game for me, even like as somebody who plays a lot of roguelikes and plays a
Yeah.
lot of games. But I found the challenge so fucking fun, man. Like I just kept on being like, and like these are long runs too. So like I'm maybe like if you keep going through different secret levels and stuff like that, and like keep getting more loot or whatever, like you're going upwards of like 45 minutes to an hour per
Wow.
run. Like these are
Jesus.
long, and you can stop at any time. But there's that little
Oh,
monkey brain thing
yeah.
going on me where I'm
I
like,
could go Will more.
yeah, but like
Oh,
what
what's
5
around the-
more minutes to get
what's
through
around
the
the corner
Ah,
there?
come on, and then you die. And it's like God, 45 minutes down the drain.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of like permanent progression in this game. It's a lot of like you'll unlock new weapons that can show up in later runs.
Mhm.
Like, but for the most part, it's not like you're not buffing your health. Like you're always starting at the same health. You're always starting at this. You're always starting at this. But man, I can't stop playing this game. I literally like brought a controller to work, like an Xbox controller, so that and like
Man.
on one of my breaks, I hooked up game streaming on my phone and just started playing as I was eating. I was like, This works really, really well, and our internet's really, really good at the PV Mart for some reason. And B, I can't stop playing this game.
I have an
This
addiction.
might be a problem.
Yeah, and like it was becoming a problem, bro. I had a lot of stuff to get done this
That's
month.
awesome.
But like,
Randy, didn't you finish your lunch about 15 minutes ago? Yeah, but I'm on a really good run
Bro,
right now.
you
Like,
got it.
Run yet.
and like, what's awesome about this game too is that I started playing this game at the perfect time because they've been doing a bunch of updates to the game,
Right.
obviously. A lot of it free, some paid, but like the free stuff, they did this thing where they collaborated with a bunch of other indie games.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so like you can get the costumes of like Hollow Knight or Hyper Light Drifter or fucking Guacamelee or like they brought in so many things, but they also brought in specific like weapons, like the weapons from these games.
Right.
So like the nail from Hollow Knight or Hyper Light Drifter's like gun and sword, and like I beat the game with fucking Hotline Miami's baseball bat because like it's so cool, man, because like you with that each weapon has its own specific like traits.
Right.
So with the baseball bat, if you stun an enemy and like they got little stars above their head and they're not moving, you can mash the X button to inflict critical hits on them, and like you'll just go to town on them with a fucking baseball bat, and that destroyed the final boss. It was fucking fantastic because like it's one of those games where like you get synergies going.
Yeah.
Where like I had a root grenade, which also triggers the effect where I can just hit them with critical hits.
Okay, yeah.
So when I used the root grenade, it like rooted them to the spot. So I just fucking wailed on him, and then he was like,
So
like,
you start getting like builds and stuff.
yeah,
like-
totally. And like sometimes the RNG can fuck you over, but sometimes the RNG can really, really like help you out and be like, hey, you got a sword that does more damage to an enemy that's bleeding. Here's a throwing knife that inflicts bleeding. You know what I mean?
So is this tickling the same part of your brain that you think Enter the Gungeon did?
Oh, absolutely.
You think it's hitting that
Yeah.
mark? Okay.
With Enter the Gungeon, it felt like I think they both do things so like the formula is so sound.
Right.
Like roguelite formula is just they've fucking figured it out.
Yeah.
You don't
it's-
have to change much of it.
No, the only thing I would say playing this after playing Hades, when I went around or like when I die in Dead Cells, there's not much to do in the like break room, I would call it.
Right. So it's just straight into the next
It's
run.
just straight into the next run.
Okay.
But with Hades, there was always like, oh, I died. Let me go talk to like this guy. Let me go talk to this guy, and like they have new lore. They have new dialogue. They have new
Right.
things that they can tell you. And I think that was a very like with Hades at least, that was like something that was like, man, you guys are pushing the roguelike formula forward.
Yeah.
In terms of like, yes, it's still like focused on the gameplay, but
It
we
added
also
more
get that
depth.
narrative. Yeah, the depth and like making sure that every aspect was fun rather than me spawning into Dead Cells and being like,
Let's go again.
I'm literally looking around the room to be like, is there anything I can do here before I go do another run? No, I guess I'm just gonna go do another run.
Right.
Other than like they have training rooms, but I don't need to train.
No, you're.
I'm going in.
the
Just gonna
goat,
throw
man.
my body in train.
Absolutely. Even though it's gonna take 45 minutes.
Mhm.
That's Dead Cells.
Mike had bought that. Maybe I'll download it and give it a shot. I'm looking for something to fill a hole right now in
Yeah.
me, and I know there's a game coming out soon that might fill a hole. but see.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that.
You want to talk about that right now?
We can talk about that right now.
Yeah, talk about it right
You
now.
want to talk about it right now?
Yeah, I want to talk about it right now.
Let's go.
There is a game coming out, ladies and gentlemen. Should be out by time of release of this episode.
Yeah, March 30th. it'll
March
be out,
30th.
so-
Game called Dredge. I won't shut up about this game
No,
because like
no,
everybody I
and
talk
love
to,
it.
yeah, like
And I love it.
every single person I talk to is like, they're like, oh man, what you been playing? I'm like, oh, I'm playing this while I wait for Dredge. And they're like, what's Dredge? I'm like, well, let me tell you what Dredge is. Dredge is this cozy little fishing game that
So
has
cozy.
a sinister, eldritch, like horror vibe that happens when it turns night.
Yeah.
So you go out and you crash land on this island, and they're like, oh, yo, here's a boat. You owe us debt now because we gave you a boat.
Look at this sick boat we
So go out and fish, and we'll sell your fish to the fishmonger, and you'll pay off your debt. It's like, great, okay.
Super awesome.
So you go out in the water, and you fish, and it's very, very nice. But they're like, they're very much impressed upon you. Like, make sure you get back before dark. It's like, okay.
I will do, man.
But then you're out there, and you're like, oh, I got a lot of fish.
So
Like,
nice out here.
yeah. And then it starts to get darker, but it's like, oh, but I see some fish over there. Like, I'm going to go get that.
Just before I go back. Why
Yeah.
not?
But then you pull up a fish that has like one all-seeing eye on it, and you're just like, what the fuck is this?
This fish ain't right.
That fish ain't right.
This fish ain't fishing the right.
So you bring it back, and it's a whole cycle of like really, really relaxing, cozy, like, oh man, I'm going fishing.
Yeah.
But with like underlying
And
something's off here.
and they do that part. They do both parts so well. Like I played the demo, and it's fun.
Yeah, so that's what I love about it is that there is that underlying of like, what the hell?
Mhm.
It's like,
That mystery.
yeah, I've been listening to a lot of horror stories, and the ones that I always like the most are the ones that are like, everything's so normal, and it's like this little weird thing's off, and they're like, I'm gonna brush that off.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
it's like, okay,
it's
yeah,
weirder
no,
and
like, you know,
weirder.
weird,
Yeah.
weird things happen.
Yeah, for sure.
And then weird things just keep happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's I'm excited to play it because I feel like you could play it as like a super cozy game.
You could literally play a podcast when you're playing this game, as long
Okay.
as you're out at night in day.
Yeah, so you could just come back like very religiously before the nighttime and do your thing, or
Yep.
you could stay out and do a little adventure.
And that's the thing; they kind of poke you and prod you to do that, because like the fishmongers, like when you give him a weird fish, he's like,
Get more money.
"Hey yo, you should bring me more weird fish," and you're like, "Okay, I guess."
Sure.
Like you can make
you'll
a
pay
bunch
off
more
this
money.
debt even faster.
Yeah, yeah, and then from what I saw in the demo, it just like it starts to encourage you to go out to different islands. There's different biomes in this game. There's like it's a huge like open water game.
I
And
was
yeah,
I will say, when you guys first told me about this game,
yeah,
I just kind of wrote it off as like, oh, it's just
Indie game.
just another indie game.
Yep.
Like
another indie game that Randy's really excited about.
another indie game
Classic.
that Randy's really excited about. It's like
Yeah.
Outer Wilds, and whatever.
Yeah.
But now that I'm hearing like more and more and more about it, and like I'm hearing more about the Eldritch stuff, I'm hearing more about like the underlying like something's not right here.
Mhm.
I might be getting this one.
yeah, man.
And I'm not someone who usually gets a
Oh.
lot of indie games.
No,
Like, I think
yeah.
the last indie game I got was
Cult
probably
of the Lamb.
Cult of the Lamb,
Yep.
Yeah.
which is another one of those ones where it's got like Eldritch aspects. to
Yeah,
it.
totally.
And I'm thinking I'm just maybe Eldritch stuff is just my little shtick.
It's so
It could be.
interesting.
Yep.
It really is interesting.
I'd
The best-
recommend like you have a Switch, just download the demo and play it for 2 hours.
That's true.
You know what the best part about this game is though?
Hmm.
$33.49.
$33.49
$33.49
for a game that I'm hotly anticipating,
Yeah.
and like it's fucking. There's this every time I look up any video about, and we were just watching a Dredge video, and we went into the comments. There's
Yeah.
always one guy. There's always one guy who's like, "This looks better than every AAA game coming out this year." It's like I don't know if that's true,
No,
dog.
but I'm
Well,
really excited
there's a
for
lot
it.
of shovelware coming from AAA games.
Sure.
In the past couple years.
But like they're both different things,
Yeah.
right? Like they
Yeah.
can both exist. It doesn't have to be one is better than the other, and
Yeah.
you can't change my mind.
Even though
about
we
that.
have a whole episode on that. It doesn't.
Oh yeah, we do.
We do.
It doesn't need to be
You should
like
go watch
that.
that.
I
You should
forgot
go
about
watch
that. Yeah, we should bump up the views on that, by the way. It's not the least performing one anymore. Don't worry.
Oh, let's
Hey.
go.
Fucking Batman episode, baby.
Yeah.
Terrible. Turns out, don't do a podcast with two people about a movie that nobody wins on.
So funny. It's such a funny meme, though. if you keep
So
it.
funny. Yeah, so that's Dredge. I just kind of like public service announcement. Like, check it out at least.
Yeah.
Like, I keep hyping this up with my friends and like being like, hey man, like I'm really, really excited about this. And like, usually the people I talk to about this game, like, they don't have to take my recommendation. I'm just saying, like, from what I've seen and what I've played, I've been digging it.
Yeah, why not take a look?
You guys got me hooked.
And I'm telling, hey,
Let's go.
hook, line, and sinker. Noah,
Hi.
do you want to talk about the Diablo 4 beta quickly?
Oh,
Not quickly. We still have a bit of time. I'm
Okay.
just like, I feel like we got a bite-sized portion of Diablo 4 beta.
Which is a very, very anticipated game.
Extremely.
For a
It's-
lot of people.
It's on the game draft.
It is.
Yep.
I'm not somebody who has been super into Diablo.
Mhm.
The last time I played Diablo was Diablo 3 for all of like 2 hours in a trailer
Right.
at one
Yep.
point.
Yep.
Um,
The classic story.
but the open beta came this last weekend, and decided, you know what, why not? You know, people
Free?
seem to be hyping this thing up.
Right.
Got into it. Initially, I got booted like 4 times
Mhm.
because the servers, you know,
Too
on it,
full.
yeah, too full.
Mhm.
They're always doing maintenance, yada
Blizzard.
yada yada. And in that, I just went at it solo, and you know, it was fun. It was fun, but I don't think it really didn't catch me. It just felt like, oh, I go here, I beat things up, I go here,
I
beat
smash
things
one
up.
button over and over again,
Yeah.
and that's it.
It felt very Path of Exile-y, which is another game that's very similar, where you have like the whole skill tree and everything, and you just go places, fuck things up, move on, talk to people, yada yada yada. So I think I only got to like level 7 or something, and I was on the fence about writing it off. And then the next day, Randy, you got it.
Yeah.
You downloaded it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started playing together.
Yeah.
And then we kind of started getting some better gear.
Yep.
That kind
That's
of...
where it catches you,
That's
That's
where it was.
Mhm.
That's where it was. As soon as
better gear.
As soon as it gave me the gear that's like, oh, hey, all of a sudden this ability that I kind of wrote off, all of a sudden it's
pretty good
it's
now.
starting to feel really, really nice.
Yeah.
Racked.
And then we obviously started fighting tougher bosses that actually like required like, oh, you actually have to get out of the way of this thing, otherwise it will hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of slowly kept creeping up that like, you know what, I am enjoying this. This is fun. I do still feel like it's one of those games where it's like, this isn't something I want to do by myself. There is underlying story about this god, I think, named Lilith.
A demon?
A demon named Lilith.
Mm.
And she has like her little cult and everything, so you can kind of go in and try and solve that. But yeah, it's something I'm a little... I was taken down a notch from the beta because it's not fully what I was expecting.
Yeah.
I wanted something that was a lot more immersive, but I guess anything more immersive would start leaning into like Divinity Original Sin,
Right.
or Baldur's Gate, which is another game that's coming out this year,
Yeah, crazy.
where you kind of
Just
go,
what a year, bro.
so much.
Last year was a great year, and this year is going to be a great year too for video games. It's going to be
Absurd.
almost too much.
Absurd.
So yeah, I was hoping for something a little bit more immersive out of Diablo,
Mhm.
but maybe that's because I was going at it thinking, oh, this is going to be like Divinity Original Sin, or this is going to be like Baldur's Gate. But no, Diablo is its own thing. It's not like that. It's not turn-based. It's in your face. It's very, you have to plan things out. You have to have your builds.
Yeah.
It's more akin to games like WoW,
Mhm.
like World of Warcraft and everything. So it's something I'm still waiting for, and in anticipation.
Yep.
And I'm excited to see what's to come of it.
I played the third one quite a bit with Mike.
Yeah.
We got really, really into it for a while, and it really is that loot. Like, it's like Borderlands in a sense, I guess.
Yeah.
Where it's
Loot-driven.
like you get that loot, and it just feels so good.
Yep.
And then
You're
you
always
get that next
chasing that
piece.
high.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And then eventually we fell off, obviously, as I'm not still playing it. But yeah, Diablo's always been a good game. And I imagine 4 it only gets better. And if you like those type of games, I imagine you'll have fun with it.
Like, as somebody who, like Noah, I played Diablo 3 for 20 minutes in Mike's camper.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, Diablo 3 is pretty fun. And then never played
Never
it again.
thought about it.
Never touched
even
it.
looked at
We played Minecraft Dungeons because I was like, I want to get into the mind space of a Diablo type game.
With
And it's
Dungeon
free?
Crawler.
Yeah, like a dungeon crawler.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, with all that being said, Diablo 4, I'm not chomping at the bit being like, man, okay, this was the
Gonna
fucking
get
best.
this day one.
Yeah. That's my worry right now. But for the 3 hours that I played it with Noah, dude, honestly, the time flew by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I was having such a great time of like, oh man, I can turn into a bear, but what if I turn into a wolf instead? Like, I was playing the druid, right? So I was like, at first I was like, all right, just werewolf and just werebear. That's all I want to do.
Freaking sick.
But then I fucked around and I was like, oh, okay, why don't I look into these spells that I can get? And I'm like using earth spikes to like hit people from a distance, and I'm like chaining lightning with my melee attacks and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, Diablo 4 is really fucking fun.
Yeah, it's dope.
Like, from what I've heard, it's open world now, so you can, like, instead of a level, you're like, or like a certain dungeon, you can happen upon a dungeon to go into, or like there's world bosses, there's like
Limited time events
that like other players can come join in if they'd like to, or they can keep going if they'd like. It's got a cool sounding story. It's also got that guy. There's a voice actor in this game who he's got a voice that, like, he's smoked 20 cigarettes per day since the age of 10.
It's got that smoker voice.
But, like, it's good.
But,
That's
like,
a
a
dope
good
voice.
smoker voice,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll see if I can pull it up later for you, Brad.
It's
But,
that-
like,
that grumbly
you
old
know
man
his voice.
That
Yeah.
velvety on broken glass voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, that's besides the point. I think like the game was like, "Ayo, go to this main objective." And once Noah and I were like playing together after I got through like the tutorial section, I was like, "What if we went over here instead?"
What
Yeah.
if we just fucking
What if we just didn't do that?
And it let us. Like we didn't do the second mission. Like we didn't
Oh,
get to
really?
it
At
like
all?
at
It
all.
doesn't-
We
it
just kept
doesn't,
doing
like-
side quests.
It doesn't like level gate you or anything.
No.
Okay, that's awesome.
I'm sure there are areas where it's like, you should probably be level 25 here.
Yes.
But like for the
Gotta
most
be.
part, I was just running around. Noah was like leveled above me, so I think he was doing a lot more damage than I was.
Sometimes it happens, man.
But I was having a great time just fucking ripping people apart with my werewolf attacks, and like it was, man, I'm surprised that how much I see myself falling into a hole if I start playing
Oh,
Diablo
yeah.
4.
I could definitely see this, like, if we all got Diablo 4, that we would just group up and just like
Live.
steamroll stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was so funny the amount of times that Noah, I'd be like, we were playing in the same room and I had the volume up, and Noah would be like off, or I would run off somewhere, like because I'd see a shiny thing or an enemy.
Yeah, I'd be in like my menu or something, and then I'd just hear like the most blood curdling like cracking of bones and stuff, and I'd just be like, "What are you doing?"
I'm like, I don't know, man. I just found something to fight over here. I don't know.
And then I'd pop out of my menu, and he'd be like halfway across the area that we're killing something, and I'm just like, "Okay, we're
Yeah.
going over here, I guess."
And like this beta was a fantastic little taste test because like there are things that I saw in the beta that's like, oh, you can't access that right now.
Yeah,
Mhm.
fuck, I want to access. That.
Yeah, because there's horse mounts, and I was like, oh, you can ride horses in this game to
Yeah.
get around the map faster. And it's like, yeah, you can. Not in the beta, I don't think.
No.
Right.
But like,
Well, I think you could do it after a certain quest. We
Oh,
just
okay.
never did that because we started just going around doing dungeons.
and that was fun enough for me, man. Like, I feel like this game would probably be fantastic for like, what do I feel like right now? Do I feel like doing side quests, or do I feel like doing the main quest, or do I feel like going out and do limited time events?
Right.
Or do I feel like just going into a dungeon and just killing things?
Exactly.
What
So-
scares me about Diablo 4 though is I feel like I don't think I'll have the time this year with this amount of games. To
Yeah,
put
man.
amount of time that I probably would want to put into Diablo 4.
So it's coming out in June, and for me, June is Breath of the or Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah,
like that's
right.
my game for the month, and I don't think I'm gonna have time to be like, man, I'm gonna juggle the two games.
Yeah.
Like that's an embarrassment of riches.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, for sure.
like good lord, this year.
And it's going to be another full price game.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, full price game, man.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing that's kind of holding me back a little bit is I am definitely enjoying this game,
Mhm.
but I don't know if I'm enjoying it enough to drop $80 on it.
And that's what I'm wondering is do we wait to pick this up on sale,
Mhm.
or do we wait till Microsoft finally buys Activision Blizzard and puts it on Game Pass?
because
you know?
this is another thing. This is one of those other games where it's like I can't see myself enjoying this by myself. Like I can't see myself
Great point.
coming home and just being like, you know what I want to do? I want to hop on Diablo 4.
Yeah.
And just play it.
Right.
I don't think it's something I would enjoy by myself. I think it's something that is worthwhile playing with friends.
I think like for me in terms of that, I would pick this game up if everybody else was picking this game up,
Mhm.
and in the background I could go grind out some stuff or go explore some stuff, but
Right.
the majority of the game I would like to play with
With
other
friends, yeah.
like with friends, yeah.
With
Yeah.
that dedicated group, it could be a deep, deep hole.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
And it's always tricky to group up that main group, but like when
Yeah.
it happens, it's very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Diablo 4 coming out in June. It's about 5:45 now. Here's what else I got on the dock. Brad,
Want to nerd out about Outer Wilds?
yeah, we can talk about Outer Wilds.
Want
Fuck
to
yeah.
nerd out about it?
I would love to.
Okay.
You've been playing the DLC to the hit space exploration game Outer Wilds, my favorite game of all time.
Yes, it
Never
is,
heard
yeah.
of it.
No?
Really?
Oh,
Never
let me
once?
tell you about it though. So basically, you're like a space archaeologist. It's so cool.
Oh, Deep Rock Galactic.
No, shut up.
Oh, man.
But Brad, you've been playing the DLC for this game.
I don't think I can do this spoiler free.
When talking about the DLC,
Yeah, I don't know if I want to.
yeah, it's tricky, right?
Yeah, it would be tricky to do. It's a little spoiler here.
Yeah, give a little spoiler warning. If
Yeah,
you're
well-
planning on playing Echoes of the Eye, which is the DLC to the best game I've ever made, called
Yeah.
Outer Wilds,
Mm.
feel free to skip ahead a couple minutes. But otherwise, yeah, Brad,
This is
go
probably
ahead.
just gonna be me and Randy nerding out about me saying things.
Yep.
I will be here.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Outer Wilds, the DLC so far, I've honestly enjoyed it a lot because of the fact that it's all in one area.
Okay.
I think helps me a lot.
Yep.
Because sometimes when I was like the original game obviously is a lot more in depth, and like it did take a long time to put all those puzzle pieces together.
Yeah. You're jumping from planet to planet.
Oh, yeah. It's like, oh, I got to go here for this run, here for that run. And then it's like this whole thing.
Mhm.
But with this all being in one spot, it's like speed run there. I know where this is. I got to go here. Right.
Yeah.
And I've got to the point where like there's a big seesaw. And this is where the spoilers are going to come in, where I've started the dream walk and I've extinguished the flames in the cottage, like in the main area. You know when you got you know when the boys get the lamp? You get the lamp and they start chasing you down?
Yeah.
I was like, because I remember walking. So there's this building, right? For context, Noah.
Let me back up here, Noah. So
No, just keep going. Just keep going.
in the DLC, you stumble upon this ship that is like seems to be abandoned.
Right.
Okay.
And
Sorry, I got so excited. I just
oh,
jumped
don't
right
worry,
into
don't
it.
worry.
No.
Like,
So abandoned ship. Yet, as you are exploring, you're understanding why it's abandoned, where these people, like, what civilization used to be here. You don't have your translator tool because your translator tool doesn't work. We can pause.
Yeah. Just
Go
real
for it.
quick. Hello?
All right.
Continue.
Great.
cameo from random caller.
Yeah, from British Columbia.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna leave that one where it is.
We're going to leave that on red.
Don't think English was their first language.
Okay. So yeah, you go into this abandoned spaceship and you're just like, oh, what the fuck happened here? And then it turns out you can fall asleep by a campfire
With a certain thing in your hand.
with a certain thing in your hand, and all of a sudden you're dream walking in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You good?
Okay. Yeah,
Wow.
just burped.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I thought that was from your stomach.
Yeah, I was like, oh no. I
Break number 2.
think that might have that might have popped up on the mics.
I was like, oh my god.
But yeah, that's backing up, and now Brad.
Oh, right. So you get in this dream world, which is essentially, in a way, like almost like the world you're in the not dreaming world, but not quite.
Okay, just keep going off the rails. I'm just gonna build
Just
what
zone
I'm
out.
seeing.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
okay,
there's
cool,
this,
cool.
so
What I'm
there's
hearing.
there's this house, and it's all like this DLC is built around like the trickle of light. So like everything's based off light. Like you
Yeah.
can. So like for example, these doors are here, and if I blow out these candles beside this door, the door opens, or just straight up disappears. More like.
Yeah.
So there's this place I got to go through in this cottage, which has like a symbol you learn about. It doesn't really matter, but I have to turn the lights off for the door to disappear.
Okay.
But after I've turned these lights off, all of a sudden these people that abandoned the ship, there's just like them walking around.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like all of a sudden it becomes like a stealth section, like a horror stealth section
Yeah.
in Outer Wilds, and it's probably the most terrifying thing ever.
It's fucking terrifying,
Dude.
Noah.
And while you're walking around this cottage before the lights are turned off, the entire time there's just footsteps
Oh, I
in
hate
certain
that.
areas,
Mhm.
and there's like little hints that there's like something else there. Like
Have you
I
gotten to
was-
the creaking chair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's this spot where if you look through this little hole in the wall, there's a
Yeah.
projector, and it's like the head of the thing sitting there watching it.
There's like a shadow.
Yeah, of like something you've already the thing you've already seen in the other world. And oh my god, they do this stupid thing. Okay? So like the way the thing works is it's basically just like you see like a very small AoE around you of light,
Yeah.
and then when you like focus, it like turns into a flashlight.
Okay.
But you can also like conceal this light, and then it's just like darkness. But you can't see shit unless you focus it.
Yeah.
But if you focus it, they can see where you are, and they start chasing you.
Okay.
And it's because they just like run at your shit, and they're so big and scary.
And they're scary, dude.
They're like really scary. And the first time like I got jump scared, like my idea was like I'm not gonna put this flashlight on. I'm gonna walk through the darkness, and I'll see them first.
Yeah.
Because they got lamps too.
Yeah.
Them motherfuckers don't turn on their lamps. So I'm walking around, and all of a sudden there's like this one right in front of me, and I look up at this like 10-foot monster, and
Yeah.
he just picks me up, and he like opens his mouth super, super wide, like he's gonna munch me, and then he just blows out my lamp like a piece of shit he is.
And then it wakes you up and puts you back into the regular world.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like after that, I was like, okay, this guy's not gonna kill me. I'm not as scared as I was. But it's still super sketchy, and
very tense.
I found myself like sitting outside the door to this place, like just like shining my flashlight everywhere I could see to see
Yeah.
if I could see them
Yeah.
without like actually entering. And then like I ended up like trying to draw them out of the house to be like, what are you doing? And he just stood at the door and stared at me.
Yeah, they got boundaries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, man, now you're just stuck there and I can't get in. You see me.
Yeah,
Anyways,
man. Like,
super scary, fun game.
it's super interesting because like the base game of Outer Wilds, while isolating and like in that isolation it can be kind of creepy.
But also cozy.
Yeah, but it's also cozy,
It's
you
so
know?
cozy.
Like you're exploring this like dead civilization in Outer Wilds base game. Therefore, when you enter the DLC and it gets spooky and there are actual other things like walking around other than
like-
just you.
Kind of trying to hunt you.
Yeah. And munch you,
And,
you know?
and like,
Do
yeah.
a little munch.
He's a munch.
Yeah. But like when that happens, it's so like it goes so against what you're used to and your instincts
Yeah.
that it's so fucking like unnerving,
The
man.
sound design, too, is
So good.
scary,
Because like you
dude.
go into this world and it's just dead quiet and it's dead dark. It's like it's so dark. And you're just
Yeah.
like, I shouldn't be here. Like you genuinely feel like,
Oh, you
oh,
feel like
fuck.
such an intruder
yeah.
in the area, which it definitely works. And like when you turn off the lights, there's this like ungodly sound that comes out,
Ugh.
and it's just so scary.
Oh yeah, they scream because
Yeah.
they're just like, yo, we need that light, bro. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, they're out and angry now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And it's like basically like once those lights turned off, they weren't locked in to where they were before.
Yeah.
And like I was walking to like some of the rooms that they were, and it's like there's this chair in this corner that I heard like, and you hear movement in these rooms too before you turn off the lights. So it like really hints at it, and it's just so scary.
And I'm not a horror guy.
I fucking suck at horror, dude.
Yeah.
Especially in video games.
And yet
Oh.
we all want to play Phasmophobia.
Yeah,
Dude,
exactly,
it's gonna
right?
be bad.
It's gonna be
I'm
terrifying.
gonna be.
It's gonna be so
literally-
good.
I'm
I
gonna be
can't wait.
hiding in a corner, man.
Yep.
It's gonna be so scary.
Can't wait.
Exciting though.
Outer
Outer Wilds, play it.
Outer Wilds, best game of all time, in my opinion.
Play the game.
Play the
Play the
game.
game.
Noah,
Hi.
we have. Okay? So 552.
We don't have to.
We have Deep Rock Galactic. We have D&D. Which one do you want to talk about? Tell me about D&D. I feel like we've had a lot of game chat.
Okay. So, I've been on and off D&D for about 3-4 years.
Yep.
3-4 years now. A lot of the time we'll get like short sessions or one shots, which is a one shot is just like you all group up for like 3 hours and you go through a story, you make a character, yada yada yada. And then sessions are the ones that like reoccur every week or bi-weekly.
Yeah.
And yeah, for the past 4 years, it's kind of been sporadic in nature where like we'll all say like, oh yeah, we're gonna get together, we're gonna do the session. We do like one or two and then
Never works
and
out.
then it fizzles out.
Yeah.
This year, however, I've been lucky enough to actually be with a group that does meet fairly regularly,
Mhm.
assuming all our schedules line up and everything. And that's with I've started listening to Critical Role again.
Critical Role is a great podcast.
So good.
If you like D&D or if you don't, such a good story.
Oh yeah,
Unreal. And the best voice actors ever.
yeah, unbelievable how many things they're in.
Dude, it's disgusting.
Oh my god, yeah.
If you look up their track record, it's crazy.
Matt
Like,
Mercer
oh,
is
that
literally
and that.
playing Ganondorf in the new Zelda game.
Yeah,
Never been voiced before. Like
And Laura Bailey and Ashley Mayhew. is that
Ashley
right?
Johnson?
Ashley Johnson. They're
There you go.
both made cameos in Last of Us, like the TV.
They also played in The Last of Us games.
Yeah, they were also both in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both main characters,
Yep.
mind you.
Yep.
yeah. So like
Anyway.
Critical Role, fantastic. One of the like pinnacles for D&D.
Yeah.
Oh, for
That
sure.
that with the Vox Machina Amazon
TV
Prime show,
Right.
the D&D movie that's coming out
Next
like,
week. Actually,
just-
this week.
just super saturated with D&D content,
Which
and
is great.
oh, it's
It's been its
fantastic.
time, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and so that has inspired me to actually start attempting to DM for other people,
Dungeon Master.
Dungeon Master, and that's basically the person that controls all aspects of the game aside from the player characters.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to do it yet because
Things get busy.
Brad, yeah, I'm trying to get you in on the one shot,
Mm.
but we're just keep putting it off because busy.
Busy.
Thing happened
Mhm.
bad.
But aside from
Good.
that one shot that I'm going to use as like practice DMing and stuff, I have also gotten really in depth into world building
Mm-hmm.
to the point where I have a map made. I have this wonderful application called Obsidian. If you ever struggle like taking notes and like connecting different notes together, just use Obsidian. It's a free program and everything. It builds you a map based on all your notes and everything, and you can link nodes together. So you get like this, just like spider.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get just this expansive spider web. It's fantastic, and I've been using that a ton. And with that, because I also struggle writing, which is a very big part in world building and stuff, I've also been experimenting with ChatGPT, the controversial AI thing.
Yep.
The way
stories for you, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Literally writes people's homework. I know a few people that used it.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, and they're like, yeah, pretty unreal. You just have to change a few things. It's done.
Professors are actually pretty worried about it in the
they
coming
hate
years.
it.
Dude, it could ruin school.
There's a lot of applications out there that are now being used to detect when
Yep.
ChatGPT is used.
which they're gonna need unless they want to change the whole school system.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
I, however, I'm just using it for my story.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to plagiarize or anything.
Yet.
I will in a little bit, maybe next month.
Well, I do also have like pre-made modules
Yeah.
from Wizards of the Coast, and they fully allow you to like take stories out of it and use it and
Well, yeah, it's all
other
for
things
use.
Totally.
for use. But it is a fantastic tool that I'm absolutely loving, because with me struggling with writing and stuff, I can visualize the idea and everything in my mind. I just have difficulty putting it onto paper.
Yeah.
So having this application where I can give it the general idea, it can spit something out and it'll be like, okay, change this, 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 and this, and this. And I can just keep running it through different iterations over and over and over again until I get exactly the details that I want, is opening up just like an entire new view on writing and stuff for me.
Yeah,
And
totally.
It gives you direction too on that world building.
Yeah.
Like I
Mhm.
imagine like you write this idea down and you already have like an idea in head, and then like you see something like, wow, it's so much sicker. Like that's dope.
Yeah, I can be like, write me a 2,000-year history of between these two towns that has topics of alliances, wars, trades, implement these people that I have pre-made already over in this area, but bring them in at this point, and it fills in all the gaps that I have.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then any of the main topics that it doesn't brush up on enough, I can just be like, okay, let's add a little bit more detail to this. And it'll be like, okay, yep, here you go. And just being able to just better formulate all the ideas and stuff for this world is fantastic, and I
Right.
love it.
That's incredible. Like
Yeah.
it's absurd that we're at that point where it's like, and we're at the fledgling point. Like
Mhm.
we're just starting out
Yeah.
with like
Yeah.
a lot of this stuff. So
Where something might be able to make entire movies at some point or something
Yeah.
like that.
And yeah, it's really fun to have this creative outlet, because writing has never been a creative outlet for me, because
Totally.
it's always been something that I've struggled with. So just the introduction to this whole new world, basically.
Yeah.
It's a really fun thing that I'm having a lot of joy doing.
that's fantastic, man. Like it's like, I know our podcast is a lot of talking about playing video games, watching movies, and watching media, but like I think it's kind of fun to like branch out into these other hobbies that aren't just like, it's still nerdy, like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but like, you know,
Just exploring different things.
yeah, love it.
I think it's pretty cool.
Oh.
I think ChatGPT or that however you say it.
GPT.
Yep.
Sure.
GPT.
I think that's awesome, especially because like I think that's probably how it's intended. They want it to be used in
Yeah.
the sense of like you have this passion to do something, but there's this one element of writing where you're like, oh,
Yeah.
and
And-
you have to do it to flesh it out. But it's
And
just like,
Noah and I have been talking about like AI chat and stuff like that for a
Mhm.
while now, and like basically I keep coming back to like it's a dumb tool. Like it's a
Mhm.
tool that absolutely will get you going
Mhm.
and like won't. But like I was sitting in coffee culture and a guy came in, like an old guy. I've already told you this story.
Yeah.
But old guy comes in and he sits down with his friend and he's like, I've been checking out this Chat GPT thing. And the guy he was sitting with was like, oh, I don't know what that is. And he's like, oh, well, let me tell you, I could tell my phone to write me a screenplay and it would. And I'm sitting at this other table in the English and creative writing program, paying money to learn how to do these things. And I'm like,
Not
no,
don't-
not quite.
No. You definitely can get the ball rolling on ideas. though,
Absolutely, and I
which
think that's a
is great.
great resource.
Mhm.
But don't expect this to be like this thing
This
where,
one and done.
yeah, you can't replace the human element.
No.
You
No.
literally can't
No.
until we get to the point where it's too late.
Yeah.
Like
And then we're all just gonna die anyways.
Yeah.
Terminator.
sentience
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, like at the end of the day, hey, use it for whatever you like, man. Just don't cheat, first of all, because like that's really annoying.
Mhm.
And like, what are you really gaining out of that?
Yeah,
You didn't cheat the game, you cheated yourself or something like that.
Yeah.
I will
Hell
say, ChatGPT, just the text of it is also different from the AI art. That
Right.
is a whole.
That's a whole other
That's
can
a
of
whole
worms.
other ball game.
Yep.
That has so many different elements to it.
There's a lot of ethical problems with that.
There's a lot of ethical problems.
Yep.
And that is something that still needs to be explored a lot more.
Whole other can of worms that we
Yeah.
can get into
I
at a different
I
point.
cheated one time on a test.
With GPT?
Nope, just cheated in grade 2.
Oh, everybody did.
Oh, yeah.
Grade 2, Brad. Jesus, are you
No, dude.
you bearing your sins to
Yeah,
all?
it
Like,
was-
what's
it
going
was
on
a
here?
sad time.
Go
I
back to grade 2. Do
couldn't-
it properly.
Couldn't spell, brother. Didn't know how to
Oof.
spell it.
So how'd you cheat?
Snuck it out my desk.
Yeah.
The practice did a little like
Yep.
stomach tuck.
Yep.
And I don't know how stupid I was to get caught doing that, but I did.
Oh, you got caught?
No.
Yeah, and then she outed me in the group meeting.
Made you spell brother on the chalkboard at the front of the class?
No, she just told everyone I cheated.
Oof.
And everyone was like, Brad, you're
Grade 5, I did the same thing. I think it was for a science test. And, like, basically what I... so stupid. You know how those desks had little, like, not drawers, but, like,
Yes.
little cubbies inside?
Cubbies.
Yeah. I would pretend that stuff kept falling out of my cubby,
Right,
and then I'd have to
Oh.
put it back in, but I was just checking notes.
right.
It was so obvious. It was so fucking
many
obvious.
times you
It's
dropped
like, how
something?
many times is this piece of paper going to fall out of your desk, Rand? But, like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, Mr. Redcliffe, I apologize.
I think the best way I've seen anyone cheat is when ripped jeans were in style, which I guess they still are. The guys would take the ripped jeans and write the notes on their thighs, and then just pull up their ripped jeans during the test.
Whoa. I think I just
Smart.
peeked the mic.
That's
Shit.
smart.
Sorry, Dan.
Did I do it once?
Yeah.
Damn right I did.
Wait, I thought you said only in grade 2. Story's changing now, isn't it?
That was the only time I got
Whoa,
caught.
whoa,
That was the
whoa.
only time I got
Only
caught.
time you got caught cheating.
Yeah, which is
Mm.
why it makes me feel bad.
Because I got caught
Yeah.
and repercussions for my
Spec-
actions.
Specifically because I got caught.
Damn it.
I don't
They
think
started checking people's legs though.
I don't think you're allowed to do that.
No, it was like just like they're
Drop
like,
your pants right
Yeah.
now.
they're like just like pull up the rip a little bit because they're like just jeans. So they're like just,
Still not
seems
liking
a little
that.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they started writing them so high up that it would be like it'd be really weird if they asked you to do that.
It's terrible.
It was. Did it work? Fuck yeah, it worked. It was unreal. Shit was crazy.
I don't think I ever cheated in school.
Good for you, man.
I don't think.
Oh, we get it.
Okay.
No, but my
Mr.
grades show it.
Good boy.
I am
Right.
a dumbass. I definitely should have cheated in math class. I passed that with a 50. Okay.
There's
Should have cheated.
I'll wrap it up with this last story. I was in college and there was a test that like you were supposed to use a certain browser so that you couldn't leave the window. You were doing an
Oh.
online test, but you couldn't leave the window.
Right.
But it wasn't working. Like the
Oh.
browser, like the certain thing wasn't working.
So you could just leave the window.
So people could.
Yeah.
I was like, no, integrity.
Like, I'm gonna do this.
I'm going to
the
make
right
sure
way.
I do this the right way. And I got a 52% on that test.
Ooh.
Damn. I
Every single other person got 90 to 100%. Everybody who cheated.
Yeah.
And that I sat at lunch, like at the table, and I was just staring, and I'm like, dude, that's fucked up. Like that doesn't
Yeah,
make
that's
sense,
you,
man.
you.
Like I did the right thing,
Getting punished.
and I'm getting a 52%. Everybody else cheated
Yeah.
and got 90 to 100%. I'm like, this shit's broken.
Oh,
Like,
school system.
Yeah.
Broken.
this
Oh,
shit's
yeah.
broken.
cheaters never prosper, except when
Except when they do.
when they
They
do.
prosper in school and fail in real life.
And with that word of wisdom,
I'm just failing in real life. I didn't even cheat in school.
You just suck everywhere.
nah, man. Let's wrap it up there, boys. I
That's
think
it.
that was.
That's
You know
it.
what? Honestly, we got through a lot of stuff.
We did.
So we're gonna do the thing where we thank people now. Daniel Mosionier, thank you so much for editing and creating music for us. You're listening to that
boy.
music right now. You can check out his music on his YouTube channel. He's got a video that is like over 1,000 views. Absurd, very good. Go check it out. Christian Nation Makerspace, thank you so much for creating the space that we can make in space.
With the nation.
Absolutely, with the nation, bro.
With the nation.
Nation.
Spreading this across the nation with this space.
Absolutely. So yeah, thank you. Come on down, check out the Facebook page in the comments or in the description below. And yeah, you can check out, you can do woodworking, you can do 3D printing. They're always changing up the space. It's always looking better.
Oh, dude, every
It's a
time I walk
constantly
in,
evolving
there's something
thing.
going on.
Absolutely.
Always making more space.
Always more space.
More space for the nation we're making.
And thank you, listener/viewer. We really appreciate everything you're doing for us and listening to our stuff. And yeah, we're heading into the summer months, so we got to come up with some content for the summer.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do a parkour compilation.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. That's going to get us views, bro.
Let's just release that
The
8 years
really,
ago.
really shaky camera footage.
You got to do
I
the
got
classic, like, people are awesome, version 2023.
Yeah.
It's like a compilation of
With
us
the
being like,
with the fisheye lens.
yeah, exactly.
it. Hell yeah.
We're going to do that this summer. Keep an eye out.
Keep an eye out.
Yeah, so subscribe to the channel
Buy
and
it.
follow us on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on everything. So check it out. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Thanks so much for talking about stuff. Let's get out of here. Have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for listening. Bye.
See you later.